Folks, so we have a re-review of Blue Ridge Shadows. I played it last week, and number one, it was a really nice day to play, afternoon. Played Twilight at about 2 o'clock, 2:45 really. Starting at 3 o'clock, it was $35 for Twilight, and I started just maybe a quarter hour before 3 o'clock, and on the 24th or so, the weekend of the 24th, that Saturday, and easily finished the round before it got dark. It wasn't even really a factor. The sun had just begun to sort of kiss the tree line when I finished, and that was after a bunch of waiting behind people. I did have some foursomes that were nice enough to let me play through as a single, but essentially not really any advanced pace. I had to wait for a number of threesomes ahead of me on the backside. But basically, I wasn't really looking forward to playing the course again, because the last time I played, which was probably a couple of years ago, I really didn't think much of it, honestly. The front side is an interesting side of the course. It's a nice, challenging layout, but still only modestly challenging. But still, it's a decently challenging, fairly straightforward neighborhood lane kind of course. Tree lane kind of course with a decent amount of verticality, going down to the lake on the first hole and up to the green on the second hole and back, to the back of the course on 3 through, I guess it's 8, and then coming back on 9. And that's actually a pretty decent course. That alone right there is, I think, a decent, I'd give it probably a B star, B plus score, a B star certainly, with very minimal housing. Not like there's no housing there, but there's not a lot. It's definitely not oppressive, and basically, it's a decent course. I'd say that front 9 is definitely a solid golf course. The issue with playing that course, the 9, is you have to hit the ball in play. Period. You've got OB certainly on the right side as you go out, and on the left side as you come back towards the clubhouse, where there are houses. The houses are not quite right there in your face, but they're not very far away either. And certainly you just can't go spinning balls off to the side on the front side and have a decent front 9. The difference between it and the back 9, is substantial, in that there are quite a few greens which are sort of jammed next to each other. The number 10 shot is a very interesting shot. There's a tee box right off to the side, so you don't really get much. Tee box behind it is, going back to the black tees, and there's a house standing over on top of it, which is always something I've hated in a golf course, is having a house looming over, either the green or the tee box, and this has that in spades. Then the next tee shot, you're just playing from behind the green on number 10. And number 11 is this downhill sort of crescent left. And it's really a kind of straightforward shot. You either hit the ball in play, between the line of trees to the left and the sloping waste on the right side, or you don't. And, you hit it into play. You've got a reasonably short, maybe 100-yard shot, 150-yard shot at the most, into a green. But that green is this little like ice skating rink of a green between the tee box for like number 14 and the green for number, I guess it's 13, and it's just, 12, I guess. It's 14 and 15, I guess it is. Anyway, in any case, there's just too much action going on. There's a little patch of flat land. There's a fairway for one hole. There's a green for another hole. There's a tee box for certainly the white tees for another hole. And then you're playing this downhill crescent shot. And it's really not all that difficult. It's really not difficult or enclosed at all, except for these obstacles where other people are going to be standing. Someone will be on the white tees, or someone will be on the green. And it's really just an annoying sort of, stocking stuffer of a hole. The next hole, that par 3 that goes on the left side of the lake, is not bad. It's not as tight as I remember it being, and it's certainly a playable hole. You just have to hit somewhere to the center or left and not go into the lake. And then the other one, which is the par 5 that goes off the back of a row of houses and goes over a sloping fairway that slopes off to the left and then goes downhill, it slopes to the green. That's not a bad shot either. I mean, again, you have some ground lack of levelness, which is going to add some tendency to hit the ball off to the left or right, spin it or hook it one way or the other. And then you've got that long downhill shot, and that's actually a pretty decent shot. And I think that's, certainly a B hole right there. But again, the problem with it is you've got the green for number 11 on the right side. You've got the tee box in a line of in the row of tees for number. So I guess this would be 11, 10, 11, 12 is a par 3. Then 13 is the one coming back, and then 14 is the one that kind of goes like a Z that goes to the green. Over on the right side under the clubhouse, and then 15 comes out to the back where the house is next to the hotel. 16 shoots way out to the bridge where the road coming in from the entrance to the course is, and then you've got 17 that's sort of a dogleg left, and then 18 back down to the clubhouse. And I think out of all those holes, there's only a couple holes that have any decent verticality. Number 10 is, I certainly think that's a solid hole, but out of the rest of the holes, there's not a lot there. I mean, they're long. Altogether, there's no question they're long. I guess there's about 3,700 yards in those 9, and they're not short. They're certainly a challenge, but I don't really think they're really good golf holes. I do like the par 4 coming back over the creek that doglegs to the right where that lake is. I think that's a decent hole. I think the hole that comes back to the clubhouse at number 18 is a decent hole. I think the tee shot from the top of the back of the clubhouse is a fun shot. And probably that Z hole is a decent shot. And probably the par 4, I guess it is, that comes over the hill. Number 13 is decent. Number 12 is decent. But I just really think there's so much action going on there in the middle. It really takes away from all of the holes that could be better holes if they were better spaced out. You didn't have this just collection of greens and tee boxes right there in the middle. So it just has a very different feel, very different character than the first 9, where the first 9 is a legitimate 9 holes. The second hole is just a hodgepodge of what are decent holes, but altogether they're just a mess, especially, and this is the key part I have to add in this, especially when you start getting some decent length in your shots. Now, I've gotten to the point, I'm going to put this in context, I'm not trying to brag here. I've gotten to the point I can reach the green from number 13 in 2 shots. I hit an approach shot to that green that was at least 275 down that hill, and the ball went just a skosh right on me, and it landed on the green, next to the green I was trying to hit to. Blind shot, you're pretty much shooting off the trees, the oaks in the back as a reference, and I knew it went a little bit right, but I didn't think it was going to quite make it down to the green. Nope, trickled down, rolled right over the green, and I went down there, and some guys that I'd passed, let me pass them on the front side, were still on that green on number 12, and we laughed and exchanged pleasantries and all that kind of stuff. And that was all fine, more or less. I found that the number 13, the Z hole, was a lot more frustrating to me this time because I wanted to get on it in 2 also. And I hit my drive all the way out to the top of the bottom leg of the Z. And I was just like, how do I get to this hole in 2 shots? And luckily my ball had landed in the sand trap, and I couldn't quite really advance it because it was too close to the lip. But I punched out about halfway down the center of the Z, and I had about 200 to the green. I'm like, how do I get this ball on the green in 1? And I just said, fuck it, and went for it with a 3-wood. And the second shot I put right off the front wood there on the backside of the lake facing the green, which was interesting. It was fun, but I knew it wasn't a high percentage shot. All I really could do was play like a cut shot or a draw shot around those trees and get it up in the green. So I would say that was not really a fun shot. It was much more a matter of frustration because I didn't want to just play a simple layup down the Z and chip onto the green. I was determined to make that shot in two or three, basically, and of course paid the price for it. However, the next shots I did very well on them, and then had 18 and basically had to deal with the fact that I had a minor issue with three guys that were playing number 14 while I was trying to play 18. And unfortunately, this put another spin, a dark spin, on the entire episode. As I come down there, I'm trying to play 18. These guys come down to 14. The first thing they do is crank up the stereo on their radio in the car. And they are no more than 20 yards behind me when I played. And I had to ask them. We almost got into an argument right there. And I'm like, these are three young guys versus me. And they're like, I was like, what are you guys doing? I was like, oh, we're just playing golf, man. And I was like, okay, here we go. Your idea of playing golf, and I've seen this quite a few times playing in Virginia, deep Virginia, away from the city. They're going to go out there, they're going to turn their music up, it's going to bounce off every hill and whatever, and it'll pretty much be like at a concert, and that's what they want to play golf. That's how they want to play golf, with the stereo blaring, And it's not just that there were like 50 people right there playing golf. It's just that the first thing they thought of doing was driving up to the tee box and then cranking their music. Meanwhile, everybody else is trying to play golf, in a sedate, quiet manner. And it just didn't go. Those two things did not go together. They were as different as Billy Joe Cyrus and hip hop. I mean, it just did not go together. And what you really hope in that situation, whenever it happens, is it gets resolved amicably. And I have to give these guys credit. They initially were a little bit frosty, okay? But they found their gentleman nature. And I have to give them credit. They're like, well, yes, sir, we'll turn it down, no problem. I could have seen that going wrong very quickly, and it didn't. But I do have to say that it's a very touchy thing to have any kind of conflict with somebody on a golf course, because you never know when it's going to go wrong. You just don't know. And it just is not something I really want to deal with, going out of a golf course and dealing with anyone whose idea of playing golf is to turn their music up loud while they're playing. And I've seen it happen just too many times. And for me, that put a bad spin on the entire 15 minutes left of the course, of the round. Whereas before, I was having a good time. I had a great time. It was nice weather. People out there were very polite. I got a lot of, 2 or 3 foursomes that let me pass by. Everything was super cool, super chill. Everything was great. I had 2 things basically I really got kind of frustrated trying to muscle my way around the back of the course on a couple of holes. And second, I had to deal with this nonsense. I mean, that really just put like a wheat. I went to the clubhouse. I chatted with the guys behind there, just kind of blowing off a little nerves. Then I went threw my clubs in the car and I got the hell out of there. I just, for much less money, much less bullshit, much less attitude, and much better golf. I find that Blue Ridge Shadows is up in the upper third of the area public courses, but certainly not outstanding. It's just good, and I respect it for that.